Hey, how you doing? Hope you all are doing great. As you seen in the thumbnail, in this video, we are gonna see, what if Naruto born in total drama and had harem. This is part 2 and last part. And before getting into video, I request you to check the author of this fanfic, and show some love and support. Name of the story is, What a Dramatic Life by Mumei Mu. Do check it out. All details in description, and if you want next part of this series, please leave a like, share, and consider subscribe. Let's get into the video. Also check out Patreon for uncensored spicy content. Link in description. Doc. Last time on Total Drama Island, two teams got together and had a lot of fun challenges in just a week. Chris said with a grin, the camp ers got a chance to know each other during the Awake-a-thon which lasted for 4 days, ouch. The host chuckled, and after that, they just enjoyed a good game of dodgeball and showcased their talent in a contest. During these, we have our first alliance, jealousy be in denial, rivalries, and a few of ships, you know what I'm talking about. Chris wiggled his eyebrows at the camera with a grin. Here were a few campfire ceremonies and 3 campers, Eva, Noah, and Sadie, had to take a ride in Loser's boat. The host plays the footage of said consters leaving the island. Now who will be the next victims to walk down the dock of shame? Find out tonight on Total Drama Island. Naruto stares at his house with uncertainly expression before a hand touched his shoulder. You okay, kid? Yeah, Oji-san, the redhead sighed before look up to Heather's father. Thank again for let me stay at your house, Datbeo. No problem, you're like a family to us since your mother moved in next door. Naruto give him a small smile. You can use the guest room, come on, Naruto. With one last glance at his house, Naruto entered Heather's house. Killer Bass Cabin. Get your asses up, maggots. Chow time. Chef's voice roars out of the loudspeaker as Naruto's eyes snaps opened. Owen was the only camper that slept in. The redhead won't be surprised if Big O can sleep through storm if there was one. And it was getting good, Duncan muttered before the punk jump out of his bed. Dibs on shower, Duncan said as he grabs some of his clothes and kick Owen's bed to wake the oaf up since they both share same bunk beds. Chocolate donuts with shrimps topping. The boys raised their eyebrows and give Owen a weird look. What the hell did he dreamed about? Outside, Katie sobbed into her hands. Her best friend was gone and what was she going to do now? She gave out a wail before someone speaks up behind her. Are you okay? The girl blinked, turns to face the geek. C- Cody. Katie was not sure if it was his name but she overheard Gwen muttered about him in passing. Yeah, Cody rubbed his neck. I just saw you crying and, well, he was on his way to the communal bathroom before noticed Katie wailing on the log. Oh, Katie sobbed again, freaking Cody out. Sadie. The geek gulped before he sit down next to her and patting her back. He don't know how to comforting girls at all. Do you want to talk about it? What? The geek doesn't know what to say and that's all he can think right now. The skinny half look at him before nods her head and start to vents out on him as he patting her back over and over. Campfire. After their breakfast, Chris told everyone to meet him at the campfire pit for their challenge. Campers, the host starts his explanation. Today's challenge will test your outdoor survival skills. I'm not gonna lie to you, some of you may not come back alive. Some of the campers gasped before Chris chuckled at their expressions. Just kidding. All you have to do is spend one night in the woods. Everything you need is at your team's campsite in the forest. You just have to find it. He pulls out a couple of maps before tossed them to the leader of the teams and give them a warning. Oh, and watch out for bears, lost a couple of interns in pre-production. Good thing we have Naruto, Courtney sighed, if the redhead can tame man-eating sharks. Then it's possible that the bears won't attack the killer-based team. First team back for breakfast wins invincibility. Chris said before pressing his air horn. Well, off you go, and don't die. The host chuckled again as he leaves. Did he say there are bears up in here? Lashana asked with bewildered eyes before Owen starts to tell everyone about his encounter with Bear. Really? That's cool, Big O. Naruto grinned at his large friend and Lashana muttering under her breath, something about wishing that they were in her team and fighting a bear. Oh, this one time, Izzy giggled as she jumps on Naruto's back. I saw a bear eating our garbage. He had old spaghetti noodles hanging from his big, huge teeth, and it looked like blood and guts. We thought he was eating the neighbor's cat, Simba. Everyone stares at Izzy with weird look, but it turned out that he was just lost for a week. I see, Duncan muttered, not sure how to make a comment about her story. Let's go. Courtney barked at her team. She doesn't want to let the Gophers win another challenge. Screaming Gophers. Hey Gwen, wait up. Trent called out to the goth girl, but she just ignored him and walked away from him before he ran up to her side. Can I walk with you? No, Gwen grunted angrily, she just wants to be left alone for a while. Oh, come on, you're moping over the fact that I just read your diary. Either rolls her eyes as Gwen glared at the queen bee, that is so lame. Whatever. The goth girl snapped before stomps away from her team. Killer base. The team was following Courtney as she kept checking her map time from time. A mosquito lands on Justin's face before he swatted it and pulled out a mirror to check himself for any bite. Naruto blinked, noticing that the model just stopped and turned to him. Dude, you alright? Yeah, just checking, go ahead, I'll catch up. Naruto glanced at his team before give out a sigh. Fine, but don't get lost and stay on the path, Datbeo. Justin nod. Dead as Naruto ran to catch up with the team. The model turns back to his mirror and winked at it, he's so perfect and everyone knows it. Screaming Gophers. Heather growled, she was getting tea. Read of this weird goth girl sulking around and whispered back to her team, she is so the next one to leave. Who? Beth asked before Heather answers her by pointing at Gwen. But you're the one who read her diary, girl. That's privacy thing. Lashana glared at the queen bee, the said girl shrugged her shoulders. Katie, you doing okay? Jeff asks the girl and Katie nods at him with saddened expression. Yeah, she gave out a small smile, thinking about the geek and how he comforted her. Killer base. There's no food here. Owen nervously chuckles, the team finally found their camping ite and he was very hungry for some foods. This is a survival challenge. Courtney said, emphasizing on survival. It earns a wine out of the large oaf and the CIT rolls her eyes before look at the instruction. It says that we have to find our foods in wild. The campers sighed, it looked like it's going to be a long day for everyone. I bet right now, Heat-chan would say something about diet. Naruto chuckled. Somewhere a certain camper sneezed. Izzy popped up right next to Naruto, making him jump a bit. Hey, Red, you know what would be fun? The crazy girl grins at Naruto, what if a bear show up when we call them out? Right, that would be so fun. Owen giggled as he grabs them in bear hug and joyously growls, I'm a bear. Rawr, shut up. Courtney yelled at Owen, causing him to whining again. Confession. Courtney is really mean to me today, Owen whined, poking his fingers together before blink at the camera. And why do I have a weird feeling that we missed someone? Here was a pause before he shakes his head, nah. Screaming Gophers. I'm so hungry, Heather groaned as the campers waited for Jeff and Harold to come back from their hunt. Yo, who ordered the pepperoni pizza? A delivery boy hollered at the group, with extra cheese. The campers raised their eyebrows, how the hell did he get on the island? It's for the camera crew, over here. The cameram, and waves him over and the Gophers glared at the camera crew. What? We need to eat. One of the interns nervously said as their glares get harder before a voice stopped them. We're men now. Harold laughed as Jeff showed up with fishes. Are you kidding me? Heather gaping at them, the Gophers cheered for foods. How do you know how to fish? Jeff grinned at the campers, it's really easy to catch fishes with my hat. A hat? Seriously? Gwen deadpanned, that's ridiculous. Confession. Yeah, Jeff chuckled, my bro was really crazy but his ideas always work out well. Killer base. Ever. Young was doing their own tasks while Owen was cooking the fishes under Duncan's eyes since they figures that the lovable oaf will may end up eat their dinner. Naruto's eyes glanced at Bridget as they set up the tent. He can't help but wonders why he kept taking glances at the surfer and he never noticed Cody elbowing Tyler as they both snickering under their breath. What's for dinner, woman? I'm starving. Duncan smirked at Courtney, receiving a glare from her. I hope you don't expect me to dignify that with a response. The CIT growled. Hey, guys, look what I found. Everyone turns our head to DJ and see that he was petting a rabbit in his arms. The rabbit coughs and stares at them with big doe eyes. Well, I never had rabbit stew before, but what the heck, I'm game. Duncan said before the giant gasped at him. No, that is my new pet. DJ turns his body to shield his rabbit from the punk, I'm calling him Bunny. You can't find any other foods. Courtney sighed, then it Lou. KS like we'll have fishes and berries for dinner. Has anyone seen Pretty Boy? Duncan asked before everyone's eyes widened, they just forget about Justin. Justin. Hello, anyone out there? The model asked, glancing around the woods and trying to find his teammates. He don't notice that it's dark already since he was busy adoring himself in the mirror. Confession. I can't help it, I'm too sexy. Justin smiled, staring into his mirror. I'm so perfect and flawless. The model flexed his muscles before making a kissy face with his mirror. Justin blinks as he found a cave and shrugged his shoulders. That would make a good shelter until morning. He walks inside and starts to scream as the bats flew and hugs his face. My face. The model cried out, screaming gophers. I think the fishes are ready. Harold said, handing out the fishes to the gophers. Thank man, fish looks awesome. Trent said before chewing on his fish. There was silence between the team before someone decided to break it. So, anyone get a campfire story? Jeff asked and Heather glared at him. No story, we're not kids anymore. The party boy pouted, he just wants to hear some stories and it was too boring. Killer bass. Bridget gasps out of fear as the owl hooted out in the night. Be cool, it's just an owl. DJ reassured the surfer and petting his rabbit. It was late and most of the campers voted not to look for Justin since they believe that he can find them soon. Sorry, I just get really freaked out in the forest. Bridget shivered and Naruto put his hand on her shoulder with a smile. Don't worry, you got us, Datbeo. Bridget smiled back with a pinkish tint on her face. This reminds me of this really scary story I heard once. Duncan smirked at Bridget's expression as she whines. Really? Awesome. Tell it. Tell it. Owen claps his hands. Oh. We can all take a turn to tell stories. That's not bad idea. Tyler said with a nod. Are you sure? Duncan asked with poker face. Because the story I'm thinking of is pretty hardcore. Ooh, we're so scared. Courtney muttered sarcastically as she rolling her eyes. All right, but don't say that I didn't warn you. Duncan smirked before starts his story. One night, a lot like this one. Trailer. Chris, you need me? Chef asked, ducking under the door and turned to the host behind his desk. Chris looks up Fr. Own his papers before give the cooker a nod. Yeah, I want to ask you about next challenge when the campers come back tomorrow morning. Chris hands out a piece of paper to Chef. I was thinking of have a fear-based challenge. What do you think? That's not bad idea. Chef chuckled at the idea of terrorizing the teenagers before he noticed something sticking on the back of paper and peels it off, revealing it to be a picture. Who's that? The cooker asked as he handed it back to Chris and the host looked at it before give a small smile. Chef raised one of his eyebrows. He has been working with Chris for many years and he never had seen him make a real smile in whole of his career life. Sir, you alright? Chris blinked before give a nod. Yeah, I'm fine, it's just someone that got away. Chef give out a sound. Everyone always have someone that got away and he know what it was like. I see, well, Chef sighed as he rubbed his head. I'm going to make breakfast for tomorrow night. Oh, night. Chris placed the picture down and gives out a weary sigh. It has been long time since he thinks about his first love. Killer bass. Duncan's horror story was almost done as the campers shivered, so suddenly. They heard this tapping on the side of the car. Even the guy was getting a bit scared. So he turned the car on and he stepped on it. When they got back to the girl's house, she opened the door and screamed, because there was hanging on the door handle. Duncan smirked before pull out a bloody hook with scary expression, was the bloody hook. The campers reamed at the hook as Duncan crackled at them. Duncan. Courtney shouted, that was so not funny. Oh yeah, it was, Duncan tapping his chin, I just wish that it was all on camera. Oh wait, it is. The punk smirked at Courtney before she snarled at him. There was a howling in the forest before she hugged Duncan out of fear and the punk smirked at Naruto as he gave him a thumb up. Anyone get a story? Izzy giggled and everyone looks at each other before Naruto scratches his head. Well, I guess I have one. What do you mean? DJ blinked at Redhead. It's a folktale, passed down through my family for generations. That's awesome. Tell it, tell it. Owen bounces in his seat and Naruto chuckled at him as everyone returned to their seats. The redhead nods before clearing his throat. Long time ago in an old era of Japan, there was a red kitsune, a fox demon, living in a mountain next to a village. He would come down each year to play pranks on the villagers for fun. It went on for many years and years, unless a beautiful maiden was born in this village and had caught many men's attentions. Naruto chuckled and everyone blinked. Sadly for the men, they were turned down by her because Ishii claimed that she was waiting for her destined one that she never met. Wait, how does she know if it's her one? Cody cut in and Naruto grinned at the geek. You'll find out. Anyway, her beauty as so great that the kitsune fall in love at first sight, so he decided to take a form of a man and he come down the mountain to see her. He asked her for her hand in marriage and the maiden refused. The kitsune was very stubborn and kept wooing her for days. Unless he come up with a idea and make a vow, if it don't win her heart, he will give up, so he retreated to his mountain. What was the idea? Owen asked. Only to get a lot of shushes from other campers. The maiden decided to follow the kitsune and spied on him. She discovered that the man was the kitsune. The campers gasped, but she make no sounds and saw him plucking his own red furs out and crafting them into something, so she returned to her village and waited for the kitsune. She was very curious about his idea. A week later, the kitsune come down in his human form and asked the maiden to show him her pinky finger, so she did. He pulled out a long red string and tied it around her pinky finger before tied another end to his own pinky. A red string. Duncan muttered with confusion. The maiden asked him what it is and the kitsune replied, that is the red string of fate and it won't break at all because it is the symbolic of my love for you. I truly love you and I ask for your hand for the marriage. The maiden was moved and asks him to reveal his true form, shocking the kitsune, but he did, and it turned out that he used all of his red furs. The maiden told him that she loved him and the kitsune was so happy that he told her that he will grant her anything. The maiden told him, I want two things. First, you will always love me no matter what. The kitsune agreed. Second, I want you to give our children and their children to have your beautiful red hairs. The kitsune was surprised, but he granted her wishes, for many generations. The descendants of the kitsune and the maiden have red hairs to symbolize their love, and it was said that our red hair is the red string of fate which will help us find our loved ones. That's the end of story. Naruto grinned at them. Really? So you're related to the kitsune? Owen gasped and the redhead laughed. Nah, it's just a folktale that my ancestors used to explain to their children why we have red hair instead of black hair, Datbeo. I think it's really interesting. Courtney said as some of campers nods. Only Duncan don't, since he never liked mushy stories. Confession. So if I take Red's hair and ties it on my pinky finger, does that mean we'll be together forever? Izzy giggled. That mean I will have a lot of whisker times. Static. Duncan wiped something out of his eye before glare at the camera. I don't cry. It was so lame. I can't stand mushy stories, and it's stupid about how the kitsune won her heart. The punk sniffles before glare again and punch the camera. Did someone heard a scream when I was telling the story? Naruto asked and everyone blinked at him. Nah, I must imagined it. Screaming gophers. Whose idea was it to climb the tree? Lashana muttered as they sat on the branches in the tree. The reason why they were up there is because below them was a bear, eating their dinner before it looked up to them with a growl. She doesn't know who screamed out that they have to climb the tree, but she bet it was the queen bee. Can't it get any worse? Heather growled before there was a sound of booming and rain fall down harder. And you have to get Murphy's Law involved. Gwen deadpanned, getting a growl out of Heather's mouth. Killer base. The team decided to turn in early since it was raining and no one wanted to stay out. Naruto noticed that Bridget was up and fidgeting around while glance out of the tent. What's wrong? The redhead asked the surfer and she turns to him with nervous expression. Just too scared to sleep. There was a lot of howling and hooting out there before Bridget shivered. Naruto blinks before move closer to her, and Naruto. I figure that if I sleep next to you, maybe you will be less scared, right? The surfer timidly nods. It was kind of true that she was feeling little better when Naruto was next to her. I guess so. Bridget stares at Naruto's face before move his arm out and lays her head on it. BB Bree-chan. Naruto stuttered with lightly red blush on his face, but she doesn't answer and turns his head around to see her fall asleep. Night, Naruto smiled before slowly closed his eyes. Screaming gophers. Why do I have an urge to kill blonde and idiot? Heather growled. What did I do? Jeff gulped before get hit by a squirrel, courtesy of the queen bee. Justin. Nice bear. Justin whined as the bear cuddled with him inside the cave. Killer base. It was morning and some of the campers were staring at a sight that no one wants to forget. Boy, I sure wish we have camera. Tyler said, trying to hold back his laughter. I have one, I took a couple. Cody snickered, waving a camera around. Nice, think you can make copies for us. Duncan smirked and the geek gives a nod. Bridget move around at night before ending up cuddling with Naruto as his arm warps around her waist. Their heads were close that it looked like they were about to kiss and the campers can't wait to tease them about it. You know what? Let's wake Bridget up first so Naruto would be clueless all day, huh guys? The punk chortled and the team agreed with a grin. I wish I can cuddle with Red, Izzy pouted. Screaming gophers. Well, I think it's safe now, Trent groaned as he stretched his back out. It has been a while since the bear disappeared into the forest, the bear is gone. And the map, Gwen sighed, holding up a ruined map that was ripped by the bear during his search for foods. I'm too stiff. Lindsay whined, rubbing her neck and Beth nodded as she moves her arms around. You know what? Heather snarled crankily, I don't want to hear another word from anyone here. She was fed up with lacking of sleep and tired of everyone whining about their bodies. A blue bird flew down on the top of tent and started chirping, shut up. The gophers shouted at the bird, causing it to fall down with a frightened chirp. Campfire. Lousy no good bum, CHR. Is grumbled mentally as he toss a wood into the campfire pit. Why don't any interns do their job properly? He can hear footsteps running up right behind before he turns to see Killer Bass team. Wait a second, is it him or does it look like there was one less fish? We're the first ones back. Courtney panted. Oh no, they beat us here. Heather growled as her team shows up right away before she snarled, stupid bear. Chris shakes his head, not so fast, Goferinos. It seems that the killer base are missing a pretty fish. Oh, you mean Justin? Courtney giggled nervously, I'm Pret. Why sure he got eaten by wolves last night. Duncan nods his head before Justin ran past the group with a scream. Dude, you alright? Naruto asked the panting model before Justin make gibberish sounds. They swear that he was saying something about bear, bat, and his face. Courtney cleared her throat. Are you done, Justin? The model nods and she smiled. Good, because thanks to you, we just lost the challenge. The CIT shouted at the cowering model. All right, Killer Bass, Chris speaks up with a chuckle, one of your fishy butts is going home. The host turns to another team, Gophers, you're going on an all-expense-paid trip to the tuck shop. I never heard of that place, Naruto muttered with a raised eyebrow as the Gophers team ran off with a cheer. It must be one of these famous shops. Justin gulped after seeing the Bass's glares. You've all cast your votes. Chris said. He decided that they have a campfire ceremony early just for a kick and to keep everything interesting for the rates. The camper who does not receive a marshmallow must immediately hit the dock of shame, grab the boat of losers, and get the hell out of here. The host grinned with narrowed eyes, and you can. Come back, now I can see that some of you are tired so, catch them. Chris throws the marshmallows out while calling out their names, Owen, DJ, Courtney, Izzy, Tyler, Naruto, Duncan, Bridget, ONL. Why Cody and Justin left and Chris tosses the final marshmallow in air. This is the final marshmallow. He paused and the boys look at each other. Cody gulped. Justin pulls out a mirror and winked at his reflection. Chris sighed before toss it to the geek. Sorry, Justin, it's not right and your pretty face can't save you from elimination. The model shrugged his shoulders and stand up. Dock of shame. Sorry, dude. Naruto said as the teammates nods their heads. Nah, don't worry. I have a good time. Justin leaned closer to Naruto's ear and whispered, good luck with the girls. Huh, what are you talking about? Naruto blinked and the model chuckled at him. Nothing, dude. Naruto shrugged as Justin waving his hand at his former teammates before the boat takes off. Killer base. Naruto rubbed his head as he looked at Bridget before she adjusting her glance to somewhere else and was that a blush on her face. Are you okay? The redhead asked and the surfer jumped in her seat. Oh, yeah. I am. Naruto tilted his head, not noticing the campers snickering behind his back. He was about to say something but Courtney cut him off with a growl as she stand up to face the incoming gophers. What do you guys want? Courtney glared with hands on her hip, come by to rub it in. We got some extra dessert after our tuck shop party, Trent said as Beth lifts a plate of green jello like if it was a peace offering. Thought if you might want some. So what? You're just being nice, Courtney said suspiciously. What are they up to? Fine, Gwen sighed. Harold's red ants just got out and they are everywhere in our cabin. The gophers glared at the nerd. Right now, we're waiting for the ants to clear out. Need my help? Naruto chuckled and the gophers shakes their heads. There was too many ants and they feels that it will be too much for one guy alone. Beth walks up to Courtney and attempting to hand the plate to the CIT. No, Courtney cried, taking a step back before recomposed herself. I mean. No thanks. I'm good. What? Are you on a diet or something? Duncan scoffed. Courtney snarled at the punk. No. I just don't like green jelly, okay. Beth shrugged before offering it to DJ. Only to have the giant swatted it away with a shriek. Snake. Everyone watches on as the plate flew and lands on ground, spilling jello all over. Chill, dude, it's just a gummy worm, Cody said with a pout. He really wants to have this gummy worm. Sorry for tripping, guys, DJ sighed. Snakes just freak me out. I feel you, Tyler said as he patting DJ's back. Chicken give me the creeps, dude. You're afraid of chickens? Gwen asked with weird look as everyone raised their eyebrows. Wow, that's really lame, man. Duncan chuckled, can't believe that a jock is afraid of fowls. Confession. So suddenly, everyone's having this big share fest by the fire. At afternoon, Gwen sighed and starts to recapping, like Beth went on and on about how her mortal fears being covered by bugs. Harold's afraid of ninjas. Even Heather admitted that she's afraid of sumo wrestlers. Static. Naruto chuckled guilty. My Alpha S51 prank was the one that gave Heat-chan a fear of sumo wrestlers, Datbeo. What's my worst fear? Gwen gulped. I guess, being buried alive. Walking through a minefield, in heels, Lindsay shivered. Flying, man, that's some crazy stuff. Owen said and Izzy agreed with him. Both shares same fears. I'm scared of hail. Jeff glanced at the sky. It's small but deadly, dude. Being left alone in the woods. Bridget sighed. Bad. Haircut, Katie said before Lindsay changed her mind about her fear and agreed with Katie. Having to defuse a time bomb under pressure. Cody whined. I'm really not afraid of anything, Courtney said with a smirk. Baloney. Duncan coughed, earning a glare from the CIT. Oh, really? Well, what exactly is your phobia, mister? Know it all. The punk's eyes widened as everyone stares at him. CE, Celine Dion music store standees. Duncan sighed and some of the campers snicker at him. Squeeze me. Cody snickered. I didn't quite get that. Dude, did you just said Celine Dion standees? Trent chuckled and Lindsay squealed. Ooh, I love Celine Dion. The bombshell paused. What's a standee? Trent chuckled. You know, that cardboard cutout thing that stand in the music store. Don't say it, dude. Duncan threatened with his fist but the musician ignored him. Kind of like a life-size, but flat, Celine. They started to tease him for a while before Duncan slaps his ears with hands. Shut up. The punk pointed at the last couple. What about you, guys? Okay, well, I hate mimes, like, a lot. Trent said, trying to pass it off as peace offering to Duncan. He turned to Naruto since he was the only one beside Courtney that doesn't share their fear yet. What about you, dude? My fear. Naruto flinched before rubbing his chest, which everyone noticed for the first time. Well, my scar. The redhead sighed. Seriously. That's your fear. Courtney rolls her eyes and some of the campers frowned at her. Yeah, Naruto scratched his head with a small frown. It's something that you won't understand, Datbeo. So what about you? Heather cut in, attempting to change the topic by asking Courtney with a glare. Nope, nothing, Courtney replied smugly. It looks like the queen bee's attempt was successful. That's not what she said last night. Duncan whispered to DJ. Duncan, did you ever consider that maybe I was just humoring you in your stupid story? Sure, princess. The punk rolls his eyeballs. Whatever floats your boat. Shut up. The CIT snarled. While everyone was talking, Katie sat next to Cody with a smile. Hey Cody, I want to thank you for yesterday. When, Katie muttered as she pulls out a pile of candies and offers them to the geek as his eyes lit up at the sight of candies. Here, I got them for you. Thank, Katie. Cody starts to gobble them up. I can't resist candies. He stopped before hands her piece of candy. Here, he gave her a gap-teeth grin before returning to his candies, never noticed a little blush on Katie's face. Main Lodge. Once again. It was morning since the campers stay up late to chat and everyone was eating their breakfast before Chris walked inside with a whistle. It set off alarms in the campers' heads. Campers, your next challenge is a little game I like to call Phobia Factor. Chris grinned at them, prepare to face your worst fears. Phobia Factor. It sounds like fear, Naruto was about to say. It before Chris make a zip it sign with his hand. Worse than this, Lashana muttered as she lifted Chef's mystery meat. We're in trouble. Gwen deadpanned. Now for our first victims, Heather. Chris chuckled. Meet us all at the theater. Heather shrugged her shoulders and take a sip from her cup. It's sumo time. The queen bee spit out her drink and gasped at smirking Chris. Gross, Trent mumbled, wiping the drink off his face. He was unlucky that he sat in front of Heather. Gwen, you, me, the beach. Chris told Gwen, a few tons of sand. The goth girl give out a gasp before Lindsay speaks up, wait. How did they know those were your worst fears? Because we told them. Gwen slapped her forehead, realized something that the campers forget about. At the campfire last night, and on camera. Wait, they were listening to us. Lindsay gasped. It's a reality show, Gwen deadpanned, they always listening to us. That's like eavesdropping. Chef Hatchet, Chris chuckled, didn't you have a special order for Tyler here today? The cooker nodded with a maniacal grin before thrusting a deep fryer in the jock's face. Everyone can see that it was a deep-fried chicken. Tyler why? Ned as he picks it up and stares at it before take the head off with a light bite. The campers kept staring before a living chicken come out of the deep-fried chicken and clucked at Tyler, causing him to screaming out loud. What the fuck? Cody muttered, how can you fry a living chicken without killing it? Outside. Beth was first to face her fear and took a leap of faith, earning the first point for Screaming Gophers team. And Beth sets the bar way up there. Chris chuckled before turns to Naruto, there is a way to earn a point for your team, you has to take the shirt off to show your scar. Just once, but it must be done before the end of this challenge. The redhead frowned before sighed and walked away from his team. Hey, where are you going? Courtney stomped her feet and Naruto ved her away with a reply that he'll be at dock. Well, guys, come with me. Chris said, beckoning everyone to come with him for their fear challenge. Doc. Naruto sighed, he don't know how long he has been staring at water for. Was it an hour or more than that? He gives out another sigh as he kicks the water around. A huge shadow casts over him, causing him to look behind to see frowning Chef. Chef. Naruto blinked and the cooker sighed before sit down next to him. They both just stare at the water in silence and it was kind of awkward for Naruto. Chef glances at the redhead, early as on his way to change into his flight attendant uniform and he noticed Naruto mopping around. It took him a while to approach the brat because he wants to give the kid a piece of his mind about the scars since he found out through cameras filming. Brat, listen, I'm not good at that shit but I want you to know something. Chef finally spoke before glance at the teenager to make sure he was listening. I can understand what it likes to be afraid of your own scars. You act like your scar come from accident or something like that. Naruto blinked before look at the cooker as Chef rubbing his neck. I'm not going to ask how you got yours, but I know that every time when you see your own scar, you start thinking of the bad thing that happened. Yeah, look, Chef said, pulling down his shirt's collar to reveal a faintly bullet scar and pull his shirt up a bit to show more bullet scars so faintly that Naruto had to squirt his eyes to see them. I got these when I was in army. It was an ambush, I barely survived it. Naruto's eyes widened. For a while, I always think of this ambush when I look at my scars, you know. The redhead nodded, it took me a while until a wise man gives me a piece of advice, when you look at your own scars, just forget how you got them but take a good look at your own scar and say to yourself that it's a mark. A mark, Naruto muttered, rubbing his chest. A mark, Chef muttered before placing his hand on Naruto's shoulder, that you survived to live another day. Don't be ashamed of your own scar, just take a good look at your own scar and say that is a mark of survivor. Chef's hand tightened before the cooker grunted, fuck, I'm not good at pep talk. Nah, I think I kind of get it. Naruto chuckled, thanks Chef. The cooker nodded before he gets up on his feet. Yeah, I have to go now and take punks out on a flight, remember what I said. Naruto nodded as Chef walks off before he stopped. Oh, and don't tell anyone that I just tried to give you a pep talk. Don't want anyone to think that I'm going softy on you brats. Sure, but it will be hard since it's on camera, Datbeo. Naruto said cheekily, laughing inside as Chef's eyes widened before glared at the camera crew. Delete this part, or you will regret it, Chef growled as the crew quickly nods their heads out of fear. Confession. I dunno why I just reach out to this brat. Chef said grumpily. I just figured that kid need to hear it from someone else who can understand what it's like. The cooker crossed his arms, I'm sure Chris will give me an earful if he found out. Beach. Naruto decided to check on his team and see how they are doing with their fear. Look, the cloud is following him. Naruto blinked at the voice before look up to see Lindsay pointing at SC. Reaming Jeff as he was running away from. Is that cloud actually following him? Naruto raised his eyebrow as the cloud dropped a lot of hails on the party boy. The redhead shakes his head before no. Ticking Heather staring at him with concern and he smiled at her, showing that he was okay right now. The queen bee blinks before turn her nose up in air, making Naruto chuckle at her behavior. Killer base. Hey Naruto. DJ waved at the redhead as he walks up to them, you're alright. Yeah, DJ. Someone gave me a pep talk, Datbeo. Naruto chuckled before looks around his team to see Owen, Izzy, Bridget and Cody missing. So how are we doing? It's tied now. 2-2. DJ sighed, he finally overcome his fear of snakes for now. The giant filled his redhead friend in about the challenge so Naruto can catch up with everything. Ah, I see, I hope they are doing okay right now, Naruto said before there was an explosion in a distance. What was that? I think the geek just blew himself up. Duncan smirked. Wish I was there to laugh at him right now. Owen and Izzy ran past them and kissed the ground. It looked like they were able to beat their fear. It wasn't long enough until a shish. Reek echoed out of the forest and the killer base team blinked. It sounded like Bridget's voice before the said surfer ran up to the team, screaming something about zombie. Bree ch, whoa. Naruto yelped as she ran into his arms. The redhead blinks at her before look at the smirking killer bass team. Can someone help me? Cody whined, stumbling into their sight in garbage. It turns out that he was the zombie that Bridget was screamed about. Chicken pen. Chris gathered the teams and brings them to a chicken pen as he told them that the screaming gophers are leading right now, 7-5. All right, gang, we're in the 9th inning. Chris grinned, he was having fun terrorizing the teenagers. I don't recall anyone playing baseball. Naruto muttered and Chris glared, how many times did this redhead kid interrupted him? Anyway, Tyler, for your challenge, you need to get into this pen for 3 minutes with these chickens. Chris grinned as he points at the hen with 2 baby chicks and Tyler paled at the sight. You can do it, Tyler. Bridget encouraged the jock. Duncan chuckled, yeah, unless, of course, you're chicken. I'm not sure we're getting anywhere on this one. Chris said as he watches Tyler rocking in fetus position. Tyler, you have to do it. Courtney said before snarled at him, quit being such a girl. You have to do this or we're going to lose. I'm starting to think that she must be bipolar, Datbeo. Naruto whispered to Owen and the large oaf nods back. After a while, Tyler ran out of the pen under 1 minute. It must be a really bad experience with chicken for the jock. Well, 2 more challenge to go, Naruto, we're still waiting for you. Chris chuckled and Naruto frowned. The redhead looked around to see his teammates rooting him on while the gophers tried to talk him out. He noticed Chef nods at him as the cooker hauling the crates. Fine, Naruto sighed before slowly get his shirt off as he think back to what Chef told him. That is a mark of survivor, with a yank. The shirt was off and everyone can see his scar for the first time. There were 3 long lines that overlap each other, meaning that he was stabbed 3 times in same place and with a large knife. Oh wow. Duncan gulped, it looks really bad and some of the campers winced at his scars. How did, Harold was about to ask him before Lashana elbowed him in stomach hard. Well, now we've got one challenge set up. Chris speaks up, redirecting everyone's attention from Naruto as he put his shirt back on. Who? Courtney blinked, it can't be me, but. Chris smirked at her, yeah. You didn't have to. We're always watching you and your reactions, green jello. Courtney gasped at Chris, how did they figure it out? I totally know it. Lindsay said, didn't I tell you guys, they were eavesdropping. Quote, oh, who cares? Courtney sighed, it's not going to make a difference. Let's make this interesting then. Chris smirked, I'll give you triple points if you can complete it. The host led them to the spot where the CIT will face her fear and someone noticed that Naruto was going another way so the person decided to follow him. Lake. The redhead toss. D the meets to his shark friends and sighed, now everyone know that he has these scars and he hope it don't change anything. Whisker time. Naruto's eyes widened as the hands rubbing his cheeks, making him purring. Ooh, stop it, Izzy. Izzy giggled at his red face, what are you doing here? Naruto asked. Dunno. The crazy girl grinned before hugging him. Aye Izzy. If you think that scars of yours will change anything, you're wrong. Naruto blinked before look into her green eyes. I'm sure that everyone was surprised at first but they will get over it soon and it won't really affect anything if you worried about that. Izzy grinned before nuzzling her nose into his chest, I still like you even if you have scars or not. You're you and the crazy girl tilted her head, trying to figure out what she says next. It's okay. Naruto smiled back with a little blush at her actions, I think I understand what you were trying to say. Thank for try to make me feeling better, Datbeo. Yep. There was silence between them but Naruto swears that he heard the sharks giggling at him. How long are you going to hug me for? The redhead asked, worried that someone will looking for them and it will be hard to explain to everyone if someone caught them and spending a rumor around the camp. Not unless I get my cuddle time. WWW what? Killer Bass Cabin. Hey, dude, where were you? Duncan asked as Naruto show up in their room, drawing the other boys' attention. Oh, I was at the lake, Datbeo. The one with sharks. Tyler gulped, no campers ever went to the lake since the first team challenge due to sharks but it seems that only Redhead was able to go in without any worries. Yeah, that's the one. Naruto chuckled before he hops on his bed. So I take it that we lost, huh? It was a rhetorical question and DJ nodded his head. For a while no one said anything before someone breaks the silence. Not to be rude or cold, what kind of situation was it that you got these scars? Duncan. Dude. Owen gasped at the punk. What? I was just curious. Naruto gave a small frown before sighed. I guess it would come out soon since I'm sure the paparazzi are all over our homes by now. Everyone nodded, that was a small price to be on the TV show, all I can tell you just one thing. I'm going to say it once and I won't repeat it again, get it? Fine with me. Duncan nods his head. He was just curious and the boys look uncomforted about it but they were curious too. Naruto sighed before muttering a word that no one said anything unless the campfire ceremony. Stalker. Campfire. Chris decided to hand out the marshmallows to the campers until there was 2 marshmallows left because he don't want to say the same things over and over for now. There are 2 marshmallows left on this plate. Chris said as he looks at Bridget, Tyler, and Courtney for a good reason, the 3 of you did not complete your challenges today. One of you is going home tonight and cannot return, ever. Chris chuckled, the name I'm gonna call out is, Bridget. The surfer sighed as she collects her marshmallow for the day. The final marshmallow of the night goes to. Tyler bit his lips. Courtney squirmed in her seat. Chris smirked, Courtney. You'll get that chicken next time, dude. Duncan patted Tyler's shoulder. We'll miss you, dude. Naruto smiled at his jock friend. Tyler nods at them before walk sulkily to the dock of shame and take a ride. Everyone starts to make a chicken puns before the killer base raised their eyebrows as soon as they heard the jock screaming out in fear. Slowly everyone turns to their host with blank expressions. I sneaked in a few of chickens. Chris admitted with a grin. Screaming Gopher's cabin. Heather bit her lip as she tosses around in her bed. Every time when she saw Naruto's scars, she always can remember how close she loses him and what the doctor told her family this day. It was very fortunately that we got him in time. The doctor sighed. He should have died immediately if it wasn't for his dextrocardia, but he really lost a lot of blood. Heather's family stares at him. Right now he needs to be resting and recovering here for a while. Do you want to see him? Yes, please. Heather's voice quivers and the doctor nods at her. Doc, it has been a few days after their fear challenge and rig. Now the teams were listening to Chris explaining their latest challenge. Bass, Gophers, today's challenge is a true summer camp experience, a canoe trip. Chris gesturing at the canoes on the shoreline. You'll be paddling your canoes across the lake, to Boney Island. He said the last part in spooky voice. Naruto was about to say something but Chris beat him by speaking again. When you get there, you must portage your canoes to the other side of the island, which is 2 hours hike through treacherous, dense jungle. We've got to pour what? Jeff raised his hand as if he was in class. Pour. TAGE, Chris grumbled as he make air quote before seeing that the party boy don't understand him. Confession. A finest example of today's education, Chris pinched his nose bridge. The host sighed. Dude, walk with your canoe. Oh. When you arrive at the other end of the island, you'll build a rescue fire that will be judged by me. The first team to paddle home and return their canoes to the beach is the winner of invincibility. Chris stares at them before ordered them to move and watch them ran up to the beach. Oh wait. One more thing I should mention. The legend has it, if you take a NY thing off the island, you'll be cursed forever. A thunder comes out of nowhere and everyone look around for it. Yeah, a cursed island. Owen laughed before blinks at everyone. He was only one that was exciting to visit a cursed island. Now get in your canoes. The host chuckled, and let's have some fun. Everyone walked off and Chris smirked before hearing a flush noise. He blinks, turning to see Beth ran up to him. What did I miss? Beth asked with a piece of toilet paper under her shoe. Canoe, Chris muttered before the farmer ran off. He hoped that she was there during the explanation because he don't want any curse to fall upon his show. Confession. Chris told us to pick a paddle partner. Cody grinned before sighed. I wish I was on Gwen's team. It's a perfect time to make a move. Static. I wish I was on Cody's team. Katie stammered, because he's good guy. Trent was about to ask Gwen to be his partner but Lindsay and Beth grabbed him before dragging him away from the goth girl. Trent. You have to come with us. Lindsay giggled. It was an order from Heather because she was afraid that the weird goth girl and girly boy was going to form an alliance. But. Trent stammered as he glances over to Gwen to see her frown. The goth girl was sore about the last challenge because the musician forget to dig her out for 10 minutes or so. Do you want to paddle with me? Gwen blinked, turns her head to see Katie before shrugging her shoulders. Fine, but I'm in charge. Gwen said and Katie nods with a smile. Heather was forced to work with Lashana, much to their dismays since Harold and Jeff decided to be partner. Bree-chan, want to team up? Naruto asked and Bridget shook her head. No, I'm going with Courtney. The surfer rubbed her arm. I just want to talk to her about, girl stuffs, yeah, girl talk. Naruto blinked as he tilted his head, noticing that Bridget was nervous about something. Oh, sure, Bree-chan. Naruto smiled before turns to Cody as the geek walk up to them. Cody, want to join me? Cody gulped as he glances at Duncan. Sure. Anyone but Duncan. The redhead chuckled at the geek, knowing that the punks sometimes scar. Cody, but everyone know that Duncan's not bad guy when you know him long enough. I'll see you later. Bridget said as she ran off to grab Courtney before anyone. Naruto scratched his head as he looks at the geek. Is it me or does Bree-chan look more nervous than before? Naruto asked, earning a facepalm from Cody. Confession. Sometime I want to scream at Naruto and tell him that Bridget like her but that would go against the rules of betting pool. Cody sighed. Yo, man. DJ gulps as he lightly kicks the canoe. Do canoes flip over a lot? Nah, I don't think so. Owen said as he pulls the canoe into the water. Izzy flipped into the canoe and turned to her partner, Duncan, with a grin. Just follow my technique. I'm 187th Cherokee, you know. Izzy puffs her chest out, which means, like, the tribe could totally claim me at any time. I hope it's today. Duncan deadpanned as he pushes the canoe. The girl was too crazy for him. After a while, Chris show up and checked to make Sue. That everyone was in their own canoes before lifting a gun in air. On your marks, get set, he pulls the trigger, paddle. The host chuckled as everyone paddling away from the shore before a hawk fall down in front of his feet. That's gonna provoke some angry emails. Chris gulps, he hated when the PETA get in his faces, even overzealous members. Lake. And then these bushmen taught us how to properly catch and cook crocodile. Izzy giggled as she paddling across the water, as well as koala. Ah. Duncan groaned, wish that he can switch his partner because this crazy girl kept telling him all of stories that might be a bullshit to him. Gwen growls as she watches Lindsay lie down on Trent's lap and he doesn't mind it at all. Her hands tightened on the paddle before a voice snapped her out of it. Gwen. Oh. What? Gwen muttered as she gazed at Katie. Can I ask you about something? Sure. And from this day, this guy kept screaming every time he sees a corncob, Datbeo. Naruto chuckled. You're so evil, Cody gaped at him with paled face and Naruto laughed harder before they both hear Gwen shrieked. What? You like CMMPH? The boys blinked before turns to GW. Ends canoe as Katie covers the goth girl's mouth with a blush on her face. Huh, I wonder what happened, Cody muttered and the redhead agreed. Oh my gosh, Courtney, Bridget groaned, I don't know what to do. I'm not sure what you mean. Courtney blinked at the surfer, unsure what she was talking about. Bridget sighed, it's Naruto, I'm starting to fall for him. Courtney blinked at her. I know it's only a few weeks but we just click very well, but I don't know how to tell him, I'm scared that I will ruin our friendship. Bridget know that she's a tomboy and have never think about getting in relationship before but that was first time for her to feel this way and that's why she want to partnered with Courtney because the CIT will know what to say. Courtney stammered. Honestly I never have been in a relationship before but I know one thing. Bridget turns her head to the CIT, Naruto is a nice guy and I'm sure that he won't break your friendship over a confession. Yeah, you're right. And beside, I think you need to tell him when you find the right time to do. Bridget smiled at Courtney before give her nod. Hey, was that there early? DJ asked as the fog rolling in, making it hard to see anything for the teams. I don't think so. Owen gulps nervously, that was kind of creepy. Hey, I think I see Boney Island. Jeff said as the island come in air sight before everyone pulls up to the shore. Okay, did you see that skull? Izzy asked as she pointed at the mountain that looked like a skull. How cool is that? It's like this place is haunted or something. After she said it, a ghastly moan echoed out across the island, freaking some campers out. Let's just get this over with. Gwen sighed as the goth girl and Katie lift their canoe before the teams ran off with their canoes. Screaming gophers. Look like it's going to be one of these relaxing challenges. Heather thought as the gophers ran through the dead forest before a huge tree crashed in front of them. Ah! Harold screamed as the eyes pops up everywhere in the bushes, I think I saw something, gosh. A pack of huge beaver-like animals crawls out with snarls and roars, monster beavers. The nerd wets his pant as everyone screaming. Confession. A remnant of the Pleistocene era, Chris said, the woolly beaver is a day-active rodent indigenous to Boney Island, oh yeah, and they're meat eaters. The host chuckled with a wink. The woolly beavers chased the gophers as they ran past a confusing bear until Jeff cried out, dead end. They stopped in the middle of puddle with nests before turns around to see the beavers walk away with disappointment in their eyes. Hey, they're leaving. Trent sighed. Harold whined, did anyone pack a change of underwear? The gophers laughed at him, no. Seriously, gosh. Oh. Everyone groaned in disgust before a herd of monster goose-like animals popped out of their own nests. I wish Idiot was here, Heather mumbled. Ed with widened eyes before she screams with her team as they ran off, chasing by the monster gooses. Someone do something. Gwen shouted but no one did anything so they just kept running until the gooses got tired of them. Killer base. Which way are we gonna go? DJ asked as they stand in the middle of forked paths. Left. Courtney said, definitely left. I don't know. Owen said doubtful. I think we should take the one on the right. Yeah, I agree with Big O. Naruto said. Bridget nods, the right trail is wider. Courtney sighed before the killer base team took the right trail. I can see the other team. Trent said as the screaming gophers ran right behind the other team. They're taking the path on the right. Gwen pointed out. Then let's go left. Trent grinned. The killer Base team finally reaches their destination, only to find screaming gophers getting head start on them. I told you that we should take this left. Courtney groaned as the killer base quickly collecting the woods and piling them up. It wasn't long until the base team was the first to build fire and Heather gasped at them. How did they do that so quickly? The queen bee asked, only to see Duncan showing off his lighter. No rule against carrying lighters. Chris chuckled as he hovers above them in his personal helicopter. Edge, killer bass. Unnoticed by the host and the campers, Beth stumbled upon a tiki idol. The farmer girl picks it up and places it inside her pocket. She doesn't know about Chris' warning before their challenge. What happened to Jeff? Naruto asked as he watches He party boy dragging himself across the beach with a stick in his hand. He has a splinter in his leg. Gwen deadpanned before Naruto chuckled. Ah, I see, Duncan, can I borrow your knife for a moment? Duncan raised his eyebrow at the redhead before toss him the knife. Bro, what are you doing? Jeff asked with quizzical expression. Well, it's the only way to get Splinter out, Datbeo. Nah, Ruto said with a grin as the blade slid out, drawing a unmanly shriek from Jeff. Everyone stared at him before Heather smacked Naruto's head. Idiot, you have weird sense of humor. Gomen, Naruto chuckled, tossing the knife back to the punk. Confession, I admit that Naruto sometimes scared me, Duncan deadpanned, and that's saying something. I don't think this is going to be big enough. Courtney said as she checks on the fire. You heard the woman. DJ speak up, we need more woods, guys. Harold gasped after checking out Bass's fire and in his panic, he grabbed all of the gop. Hers, oars before throw them in Gopher's fire. What the fuck? Gwen screamed as her team gasped in horror. How the fuck are we supposed to get home now? Heather roared at sweating Harold. Wow, suck to be you. Naruto snickered before Izzy popped up next to him with an oddball. Huh, Izzy, what's that? The redhead raised his eyebrow, is that a sap or what? It's a handmade fire starter. Izzy giggled maniacal. I made it from some tree sap and other things. She grinned at them, stand back, guys. That is gonna be big. Everyone walked backward away from her before she chucks it into the fire, causing a massive explosion. Woo-hoo-hoo. Chris laughed as the pillar of fire shot past his helicopter. We have our fire building winner, point for the base. Wow, Izzy, Naruto turns to the soot-covered crazy girl. I spent a summer training with the reserves. Izzy explained as she hopped up on her feet. Yeah, I got into some trouble there and, blew up a kitchen by accident, which is why the RCMP is, all over my ass. Izzy hugged Naruto with a widened grin, I am so totally AWOL. Naruto stared at Izzy with blank expression. Confession, is it me or does Izzy look hotter now than before? Naruto muttered with widened eyes. The teams return to their canoes and start to push them out into the water. Katie decided to help Gwen by tricking Lindsay and Beth into join H. I promised some gossips about boys so the goth girl can partner up with Trent. Now I own you one, Katie. Gwen forgets one thing that Heather just pointed out. What are we going to do without paddles? The queen bee growled as the gophers glared at Harold. You guys can get someone to swim behind the boats and push them. Izzy said as she rose with Duncan. I did this once for a guy's huge, 60-foot yacht. The whole crew had to flutter kick for 8 days to get to shore, and, 4 of us got eaten by sharks. Everyone stares at her with blank expressions until she waves bye to the gophers. That might work, Beth said, we need someone big enough to push. She trailed off, starting to notice that they don't have anyone big in their team. Harold and Jeff will push us. Heather said with a glare and no one argued with her since Harold caused it in first place and Jeff was slacking off even if he has a tiny splinter. I totally know it. Gwen deadpanned and Eve. Ryo nods as Chris smirked at them from the dock with Killer Bass. Harold gave up halfway, leaving Jeff to do all the work but it ended up in vain. The base are the winner. Chris chuckled as the gop. Hers glared at him for stating the obvious. The host pulls a plate of marshmallows out of nowhere and chuckled at them. And guess what? We're going to have elimination here and right now. But don't we have to vote first? Harold whined as his team glares at him. Just say the name of camper that you want to kick out. Chris ignored the nerd with a grin and before the gophers say the name of camper. A RCMP helicopter shows up out of nowhere as it flashes spotlight on Izzy. Izzy, we know you're down there. The voice rang out from the megaphone, "You are under arrest." "Wait, you mean all these bullshit you were talking was true?" Duncan blinked, gaping at the crazy girl. "Nope, just the RCMP part." Izzy pointed at the helicopter, "You'll never get me alive." She paused before pecked Naruto's cheek. Earning a blushing from redhead as a couple of certain campers snarl in silence. "See ya, Red." The crazy girl ran off with insanity laughter as the helicopter followed her into the forest. Due to unforeseen event, Chris slowly said, somewhat bewildered, instead of elimination, one of the Gophers will be kicked out and sent to Bass's team as replacement. Who do you want to send out? Harold. The Gophers said in unison as they glared at the nerd. Right, see you later. Chris slowly walks toward to his trailer and wants to forget what just happened. He was not only one that wants to forget the events as the campers return to their cabin beside Harold, who has to move his stuff to other cabin. Killer Bass cabin. The next day, the boys were sleeping in their beds before the no-isy sound of helicopter flew past overhead, startling Duncan. Attack. They're coming, man, they found us. Who? Naruto said drowsy. Screaming Gopher cabin. Ooh. Lashana growled, that guy is really starting to get on my last nerve. Quote. Whatever. Heather rolls her eyes, he just loves to ruining our morning. The queen bee snapped her fingers, Beth, Lindsay, go warm up the shower for me, now, and remember. Not too hot this time. I know. Beth yawned. Communal bathroom. Naruto chuckled as he watches the girls squirming in front of the communal bathroom. He know how Heather gets after living with her family for a few years. The loudspeaker squeaked before Chris' voice speaks out of it. I hope you're ready for the most challenging challenge yet. Breakfast in 3 minutes at the campfire pit. Heather. Beth called out as she knocking the door. Can one of you come in here and lotion my back? Heather asked from inside, it's peeling. The girls slowly back away from the bathroom. Sure, I'll come in. Naruto said. There was pause in air as the girls look at him. No. Heather's voice shouted. Huh, why? We already bathed together before, Datbeo. The redhead blinked as the girls gasped. Did they have this kind of relationship? WWW when we were 6. You idiot. Heather roared, if anyone was inside with her, they would see her face turns red. That's different now. Really? Naruto tilted his head as the surfer sighed out of relief. Wow, you're really idiot, Lashana deadpanned. Campfire. Are you ready for today's Extreme Max Impact Challenge? Chris said excitedly. We are ready. Woo. Owen laughed before the host throws a can with cry of incoming. The can flew toward Gwen before Trent caught it from hitting her face. That is breakfast. Chris chuckled as he tossed more cans to the campers. No, breakfast is crepes, croissants, even chef's crappy burnt eggs, and ram. Heather stopped her sentence with a frown, and before anyone can ask her what she was going to say, Owen starts to singing. Beans, beans, they're good for your heart. Owen giggled, the more you eat, the more you. The can smacked into his forehead, knocking the oaf out. Today's challenge is about survival. Chris smirked, acting as if he doesn't just beamed Owen. We're going hunting. The host pulled out a paintball gun and grinned at the campers. Now that's more like it. Duncan grinned. Can't wait to shoot with the gun. Isn't that a paintball gun? Harold asked, and Chris resists to saying, no shit, Sherlock, anyone can tell that it's a freakin' pain. T-ball gun, but he managed to keep his host smile on. Why yes, Harold, it is. The host said before he pointed the gun at Harold and fired it, sending the nerd to the ground with paint splatter on his chest. So we won't be killing anything? Bridget asked with crossed arms. Negatory. Chris answered, this is the first ever paintball deer hunt. I'll announce the teams once we get into the woods. He turns his head to the campers. So finish breaky. A huge burp cut Chris off and everyone turns to see Owen, surrounding by empty cans. Get any more? The oaf sighed joyously. Woods. The grow. P stands in front of Chris and a tool board with multicolor paintball guns. And now for the team breakdowns. The killer base hunters are Bridget, Harold, Owen, and Naruto, Chris announced as he too SSES the green paintball guns to the mentioned Bass. Locked and loaded with Bass blue paint. Woohoo. Owen cheered, this is awesome, man. And using orange paint are Gophers hunters, the host smirked as soon as he heard Naruto's whining, that's for interrupting me many time. Chris thought before resuming his speech. Lashana, Beth, Lindsay, and Jeff. The Gophers caught their pink paint ball guns before he puts on his camo hat and orange safety glasses. You also get these stylin' glasses and wicked camo caps. The rest of you are now deer. Say what? Gwen mumbled to herself. Chris opened the crate behind him and holds up an antler headband, fake tail and a red nose. Here are your antlers, noses, and little white tails. The host said as he wiggled his tail in Camper's direction before chuckled to himself. Yeah, right, I'm not wearing that. Heather scowled. But I think you should make a cute doe, Datbeo. Naruto chuckled, never noticed the blush on the queen bee's face. There is no way I'm a deer. Duncan grunted, disappointing that he don't get chose to be a hunter. Chris ignored the punk as he forced the deer gears on Duncan. Take these off and your team is totaled. The host grinned at the punk and Jeff laughed at Duncan. What are you looking at? Duncan growled at the party boy. Nothing, bro, Jeff snickered. You'd better take a good shot, slacker. Duncan threatened with his finger in Geoff's face. And you may go to your starting spots. Chris chuckled as the teams went their separate ways. Killer bass deer. The 4-base deer was walking through the forest before Courtney sighed. At least we get a head start. I don't know about y'all but I'm outta here. DJ said, he know it is bad idea to stay in a group because it's possible that the Gophers hunters will take them out in one swoop. The giant turns around and starts to gallop off on his 4 limbs. Duncan dropped his jaw. He knows that it's impossible for human to do that but DJ just prove him wrong. Screaming Gophers deer. Heather was sitting on the tree stump, filing her nails as she watched Katie separated herself from the group. Are you coming? Gwen asked and the queen bee scoffed at her. No, I'm going to wait for Lindsay and Beth and make them protect me for the whole game. Wouldn't that be against the rules? Gwen asked as she placed fists on her hip. Do you see a rules person anywhere? Heather said sarcastically, worry about your own fluffy tails. Fine, Gwen rolled her eyes as she walked off with Trent. Don't go mushy on Naruto if he caught you. WW what are you talking about? Heather snarled, earning a tiny smirk from Goth Girl. You're not only one who read another person's diary. Gwen snickered inside her mind. Confession. Why everyone do. Kept assuming that I have a crush on Idiot. Heather groaned, there's nothing going on here. The queen bee paused before fixing her antler headband. Is there any chance that I can keep these? Her eyes widened. Not because of what Idiot just said. It's because I think they are cuter. Heather stuttered with a little blush on her face. Killer bass hunters. After going over their strategy, they put their hands together and raised them with a cheer. And break. Harold said before the boys put their glasses on but Bridget looked unsure about the challenge. Okay, you do realize that this is all just pretend, right? And it's just paint. The nerd told the surfer before give her a smirk, like if you, hit Heather. Bridget cut him off, wait. Heather is a deer. She starts to chuckling, putting on her safety glasses and Naruto grinned at her. That's the spirit, Datbeo. I'm glad that you're doing this for fun. Naruto chuckled as the boys deadpanned at him, does he not? Know that there's reason why Bridget want to attack Heather. Screaming Gophers hunters. Start your paintballs. Chris spoke out of the loudspeaker, game on. All right. Beth laughed, let's go bag some deer. Ha ha, I am down with that. Lashana chuckled and Jeff smirked. Yeah, I'm so psyched to hunt them down. He chuckled before ran off alone. Why do boys always have to be gun crazed? Lashana rolled her eyes, earning a nod from Bombshell and Farmer. Lindsay. The Bombshell was searching for the berries on Heather's order. She and Beth met the queen bee a while ago before Linz. I got her order from the leader of Alliance. She hummed as she collecting the berries out of the bush before hearing a rustling sound and quickly grabs her paintball gun. WW who's there? Lynn. The voice called out as Lindsay blushed, realizing the voice of her crush. Is that you? The person walks out and chuckled, I thought you were the deer. Yeah, me too. Lindsay giggled, I almost shot you. He, yeah. He paused before look at her, what are you doing? Oh, I'm getting some berries for Haley. The Bombshell offers him some berries, want some? Sure. Lindsay giggled as she watches him eating the berries. It's been a while since we talk. When was the last time we talk again? Just a few days ago when we were having dinner. Lindsay tapped her chin, remembering that Hey always talk during the suppers but they both got busy with other stuffs. Right. He nods before sighed. I miss talking to you. Lindsay blushed when he told her that. Why yeah, me too, they bow. Stand around in awkward silence before she speaks up. I better go back to Hillary before she gets mad again. Oh, yeah, see you, Lynn. He waves at her as he walks off to hunting for the gopher's deer. Don't even remember that Heather is the deer in first place. Yeah, see you, Otis. Lindsay blushed as she watches Owen disappeared into the wood. Naruto and Bridget. Man, I don't see any deer for a while, Datbeo. Naruto sighed, scanning the woods for any signs of gopher's deer as Bridget nod. Harold decided to go another way to see if he can find any deer, so it was just them alone together in the forest and they were fine with it. Yeah, it's weird that we don't come across anyone for a while. The surfer said, she know it was a big forest but it is still weird that they don't find anyone yet. Bridget glanced at Naruto before thinking to herself, shall I say it now or wait until after the challenge? She bit her lips before nods to herself. Naruto, I need to. Shish. Naruto shushed. I see Heat-chan ahead of us. Bridget blinks, starting to notice Heather sitting on the stump as the queen bee yelling at Beth in distance. Shall I shoot or do you want to? Naruto asked. Before smirking, Bridget fired her paintball gun twice and it hit Heather's arm. Whoever you are, this is so not cool. Heather growled as she looks around, never noticed the retreating hunters. Nice one, Bree-chan. Naruto laughed as the surfer joined him in laughter. DJ. The giant dodged another paintball as he galloped up the giant cliff, chasing by Jeff. Early, the party boy found DJ in the clearing and was about to ambush the deer, only to step on the twig and alerted DJ to his position. Get back here, Jeff shouted as he shot another paintball at DJ. The giant dodged it again. B4 skidded to stop in front of the edge of the cliff and gulps at the height. Jeff laughed, you're mine now, dear. DJ sweats as Jeff aimed his gun at the deer and pulled it, only to have it clicking. DJ glared at Jeff, I'm out. Jeff nervously chuckled as he rubs his head before DJ dropkick him off the cliff and into the lake. The giant grinned at the soaking party boy before kicking the dirt in air and galloping off again. Killer bass hunters. The four hunters found each other and agreed to go together since the game is going to be over soon since it has been almost more than 2 hours. They were talking about how Owen come close to bag some deer, only to be fouled by his own farts, and laughed when Owen let out a fart before they overhear someone fighting with other. Huh, sound like Heat-chan. Naruto muttered before they peek out of the bushes to see Lashana and Beth shooting at Heather while she was shooting back, and the killer base hunters raised their eyebrows at each other before shot their paintball guns at the fighting trio. Jeff. The party boy sighed as he walked throughout the woods after dried off. He was lucky that the sharks were not around this time. Huh, he blinked, noticing a pile of berries, and shrugged his shoulders. He was really hungry. Jeff starts to eating them, unawake that a bear stand right behind him until he finally turns around and screaming. Confession. The bear was eating berries off his claws, wearing a camo hat and safety glasses. Camp. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Chris shook his head. He just called all the campers back to tally up the team's score, and only to find out that his challenge was really messed up. Stealing from Chef, eating chips in woods, being mauled by a bear. Chris said as Chef wrapped the bandage on wheelchair-bounded Jeff. Honestly, the party boy have no idea about the first two, but the host believed it was him since the empty bag, tossed by Beth in first place, were found near Jeff at this time. Do you know what I see here? Chris asked with a glare as the campers looked down on the ground. Some was staring at injured Jeff. A bunch of teenagers, Naruto said, and the host sighed at him. No, I see a very undisciplined group. Chris turns his head to Gophers. I see a disgraceful mess. I see a massive waste of paint product, and I have to say, Chris, take a deep breath, that was awesome. Say what? Everyone beside Jeff cried out. Chris pointed at Gopher team with a laugh. When you guys opened fire on your own team, wicked TV, guys. Hey, where are Duncan and Courtney? Harold asked before the mentioned campers walk in with their antlers locked together, causing some campers to laugh at the sight. Oh, this is too much. Gwen smirked. Duncan, you sly dog, you. Owen catcalled. The punk wiggled his eyebrows. The girl can't keep her antlers off me. That earned him a kick to groin from Courtney, and the males winced at his agony. Can't even bend Over, Duncan groaned out. Easy, Courtney. Chris said. Our medical tent's really only equipped for one at a time, and Geoff's pretty messed up. Naruto and Bridget helped separating the CIT and Punk from their antlers locking. Well, since 3 members of the Gophers are dripping in paint. Lindsay cut him off by turns around to reveal that she got shot in back, make that 4 members. And some of them aren't even deer. I think we have our winner. Chris glared at Gophers before grinned at the cheering Killer Bass members. You're off to a hunting camp shindig. Woo, Duncan whined before dropping on his knees, holding his family jewelries. Gophers. I'll see you at the campfire ceremony. Chris rolled his eyes, again. Campfire. I mean, seriously, twice in a row. Heather scoffed at her team. What is wrong with you people? I can't wait to see Beth get kicked off. The said farmer gulps as the queen bee glared at Lashana with crossed arms. I just wish I could vote off 2 campers at once. Confession. I know I just got mauled by a bear. Jeff chuckled in his wheelchair, but I'm feeling good about this. This Heather chick has a lot of issues with Gophers and I'm sure I'm safe this time. Static. I totally admire Belle for standing up to Heather, Lindsay said, finally get the queen bee's name right, but she's so dead now. There are only 7 marshmallows on this plate. Chris said as he shows them the plate. When I call your name, come up and claim your marshmallow. The camper. He was cut off again by Gwen as she droned. Who do not receive a marshmallow must immediately return to the dock of shame. Catch a boat of losers and leave. The goth girl sighed. Can't we just get this over with? Damn you, Naruto. Chris glared at the campers. Fine. Whatever. Spoil the moment. He tossed the marshmallows at the campers with glare. Trent, Lindsay, Katie, Gwen, Lashana, Beth. Oh, come on. Heather mumbled to herself with a sneer. Now it's down to between Jeff and Heather. Campers. This is the final marshmallow tonight. Chris said, holding up the final marshmallow. Heather licks her lip with worried expression on her face. Jeff glances at the marshmallow before turns his eyes to Heather. Chris just stares at them with poker face before said dully, Heather. The host jumped as soon as Heather grabs the marshmallow and glowering over her team with a deep growl. You are all lucky, okay. Very lucky. The Gophers gasped out in fear as she stomped away. Jeff, the dock of shame awaits, bro. Chris said dully, not affected by Heather's anger. The host just realized that Jeff can't move at all. I guess we can help you get there. Chris smirked, Chef. Yeah. Chef muttered as he pushed Geoff's wheelchair toward the dock of shame and tosses him into the boat before it sailed off. Why is he in a nurse uniform? Trent said with green face. And wearing a blonde wig. Gwen shivered. That's his punishment. Chris smirked evilly as the Gophers blinked at him. What punishment? I told these fools to erase this part. Chef glared at the sweating camera crew. Doc. Wow, what a wild time we had. Chris winked. Get it, wild. Huh. The host sighed. Anyway, so far we have seen a lot of things this time, like Naruto's scars. 2 campers caught someone's attention in unlikely manners and, speak of which, Chris glared at Chef in his nurse uniform. How long will I punish Chef for giving Naruto a somewhat pep talk? Oh come on. Get over it. The cooker groaned, crossing his arms. Nope. Now what will the next episode bring us? Will someone LLR redhead idiot that he just unknowingly woo a few girls? Who will be next to kick off the island? When will these damned teenagers learn to not interrupting their handsome host? What will happen next on Total Drama Island? Can I get out of the uniform now? No. Cabins. Bridget fidgeting with her fingers as she paces around in same spot. You can do it, you can do it. The surfer girl mumbled to herself, trying to calm herself down before someone call out to her. Hey, Bree-chan. Courtney said that you need to see me for something. Naruto smiled as he come up to her. What do you need, Datbeo? Oh. Well, Bridget rubbed her arm before taking a deep breath. Naruto, I want to tell you something. Yeah, the redhead blinked at her. Naruto, I, really? Like, Bridget stuttered with red face, and before she can say it, a voice called out to them with a stomping footstep. Hey idiot, what are you doing? The couple turns to see Heather as the queen bee blinked. Noticing the surfer before narrowed her eyes. Am I interrupting something? No, not at all. Bridget squeaked before sighing, earning a concerned look from Naruto. You sure? You can tell me, Datbeo. The surfer shook her head. Nah, I'll tell you later, Bridget glared at Heather, in private when I'm ready. Huh, ready for what? Naruto tilted his head as Bridget waved. I'd often give him a smile before retreating into her room. He-chan, what's going on? Nothing. Heather snarled. She knows what was going on, so she decided to stop it by step in. No floozy. Is going to take her idiot away from. Naruto watched the queen bee's face turns red. He-chan. Shut up. Heather shouted before stomped away from confusing Naruto. The redhead turns to a bee. Who was just bystander in the middle of everything. What's going on, Datbeo? The bear's answer was just a facepalm. What? Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you all are enjoyed this video. If you do, please leave a like, share and subscribe. Also don't forget to support author of this fanfic. So let's end this video here. Until then, see you in next video.